Welcome to Blockchain Basement. My name is TJ. We're gonna have a really good show for you guys. Man, did you watch? If you guys have not watched that BitBoy crypto morning live stream going after Celsius, you should definitely stay for the show, but then go check it out right after that because holy cow. That was a day on the channel for sure. We had one of the UCC committee people call us back, start to answer some questions. Hopefully we get more information about that. But it's a shame what they're doing, using going after retail, going after, trying to claw back the money from people that didn't have money on the platform anymore, while ignoring major creditors that do owe the money. It's bizarre. But anyway, another major announcement. We've got the one and only Biscuit Jesus rejoining us again. He's back from the Magic Experience in Philly. We're going to be joined right now. The invisible, beautiful Ali B is right here. She will be joining us here shortly. And of course, the one and only Frankie Candles. From Frank from Frankie Candles, going to be dropping some TA for us today, letting us know what we should be expecting from the markets. Prepper Crypto, Drew at Drew Widert on Twitter. For those of you asking, I get a lot of comments on YouTube asking for his Rumble channel. Go to Twitter. It's the link in his bio, and it's that's his. You can pull the ats back up real quick, BJ, for me. All right, there you go. Yeah, that's his at right there. Get him on Twitter. Come on, we're waiting. You don't have to wait. Come on up. Come on up. Down. Yeah, we're gonna have. I would have just gone the other way. Sorry, Ali's tangled up in the cords right now trying to get through. If you guys don't see all the carrying out coffee and my lunch and all the different stuff. So
it's a fast
hey, it's always a journey here at the Hit Factory. So also shout out to all of you guys, Sauce Boss, Chance, Raul Miguel, Nate, Quantum Divergence, Captain Daddy. Oh, Daddy. Captain Daddy right here. Thank you, BJ. I got to eat my lunch. Didn't have time to eat lunch after that.
Thank you, BJ.
Yeah. BJ is something from the Afterworld. We don't know if he's an angel or a devil, but yeah. Yes. He's a little bit of both, maybe. Also, shout out to everybody in the basement. Enzo Mining, Wade in Idaho, Paper Planes, Hold the Bags, The Real Crypto, Steve-O, Dude, What Does Mine Say? Johannes Crypto, 1918. 918 Rep, Joe Stonkman, Razmataz, AC Hedera. We love all you guys. So, and shout out to everybody on the tubes. That was, I think yesterday was our best episode ever. We definitely hit 420 likes. So shout out to all you guys for hitting the like button. If you haven't done it yet, take a moment, smash that like button. We're going to have some good price stuff to cover for you today. We got some more action coming out of the SEC and some of their shadow laws. And they got Tom Emmer from Congress pushing back. Thank God we've got somebody in politics that is trying to help crypto, help the people. Yeah. Because it's so frustrating. I feel like we keep coming, every time I turn around, whether it's the Celsius stuff, whether it's Gary Gensler and the SEC, every time we turn around, there is some big conglomerate, some big body of people that are not working in the best interest of the people. So, but real quick, we'll do a quick check-in on the price. We are oh, there's my lunch. There's BJ's favorite trick is to pull up my lunch. Yeah, I will slam. Well, here's if you guys want to know a little secret, here's what I'm about to do. I'm going to go over the prices real quick, and then I'm going to hand it to Frank to do some TA so I can slam this faster than most people eat their lunch. It's faster than Ali likes me to eat my lunch, but it is what it is. We got to do what we got to do. Got to get that protein in before the gym. If I do it after the show, I don't have time. So
when you rip out of here, man, I love hearing your car rip out of the park.
Oh my God.
That's one of my highlights of the day. So yeah. Anyway, so real quick, 23.8 coming in at Bitcoin right now. We've got some, obviously Conflex pulling back, Huobi, Flow, a lot of these coins that pumped on the China news pulling back. If we look at, let's see, the 7-day, we still got Conflicts up. We're going to talk about some alts to keep an eye on tomorrow. Stacks is in that category. We're going to talk about why. Again, Neo and Filecoin both pumping on the news coming out of the East, I would say, because it's not just, obviously Hong Kong, whatever. We won't get into that one, but I'll just say the East, because some people think that's China, some people don't. It just depends on who you talk to, I guess.
It's a big old world out there.
It is a big old world. So real quick, Frank, I've got your charts here. Your trading view with all the lines, all the levels. You didn't get this on the BitBoy morning stream. So what have you been looking at? Are you seeing a pullback? What's coming when it comes to the Bitcoins?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, shout out to that morning show. That was a spicy morning show. Gotta love when it gets entertaining, super entertaining like that. But yeah, we do have a decent bit of stuff to look at here. Now, last night on my live stream, I think I said something like, guys, I know there's an ascending triangle on the 4-hour. It was looking bullish, and it totally could have broken to the upside. I don't want to discredit that ascending triangle. It was definitely a legit ascending triangle. But when looking at the indicators, we were getting a lot of things that were signaling downside. So I said, hey, I don't know if this is going to break out. I have to lean bearish because the indicators are pointing down, right? And if I'm wrong, I'll catch that next trade. It's not a big deal. But typically, you don't want to go against all, if you have a laundry list of bearish signals against one or two bullish confirmations, you just always want to bet on the thing that has more confirmations, right? It's all a game of probability. But as of right now, guys, we have broken down. Let me come down to a lower time frame. We have broken down below our lows of our local range here. So as you guys know, we have been trading somewhat in this sideways range between about, the value area low of this range comes in at about 24K, and the top of it comes in at about 25K, right? So we finally broke down out of this range, and now we are approaching our first big level of support that I was looking at, and we are starting to see a bounce here. Now, I am not really expecting too big of a bounce here. Not surprised to see some kind of support, but there are some things that are looking pretty bearish. Now, if you look at the 2 hour, the money flow is crossing over into the red. That is typically a very bearish sign. We also now have a daily bearish divergence forming, which is something that we were looking at for the past few days on my channel. So you see we have the red dot printing here. Once that confirms, we will confirm a bearish divergence on the daily time frame, which is typically a very, very bearish signal for Bitcoin. The 2 hour is also, let me go ahead and hide these lines real quick. The 2 day is also looking to put in a bearish divergence once we print a red dot here. So these higher time frames are starting to look like they want to roll back to the downside. So we may be in store for a little bit bigger of a correction. Now we do have the Fed minutes coming out, I believe in a half hour. So I don't know how much of a reaction we'll get off of this. Typically you'll see a little volatility, but a lot of times, it's kind of already priced in. So I'm not really expecting anything too crazy out of that news. But as of right now, guys, money flow is still coming out. Also on the BitLab indicators, if you come on over here and pull up the BitLab trading stack, I was showing this earlier on my market update that I uploaded this morning. Big red wave here on the daily for the significant move, BitLab significant movement indicator, showing that we could be hitting at least some form of a local top here. So just another one of those things that was indicating that we were starting to top out. But yeah, money flow coming out on the 16 and the 12 hour very, very aggressively here. So I would expect some more potential downside. Some short-term bounces are not out of the question, as the lower time frames are starting to get a little bit oversold here. That 1 hour is looking for a green dot. So, a short-term bounce would not be unlikely, but I would expect, with the money flow coming out, indicating a longer-term downtrend may be on the way, I would expect a small retrace with a, before another move to the downside. And as far as the major level I am looking at to the downside, it is going to be the $23,000 level. It is the point of control. I know this is getting a little bit hard to see with all these levels, but the point of control of our macro range here is going to be the first major level I'm looking at, because when you reject from the value area high, which is up here, and you can't get back above that value area high, the next likely stop is the point of control, and we are on our way down there right now. So that is basically what I'm looking at for Bitcoin. Definitely leaning a little bit more bearish in the medium term. Short term, maybe we get a little bit of a bounce, a little bit of relief, but I would expect that to eventually roll back over to see some more downside for sure.
There you go.
And a question for you guys from Crypto Stevo: what are the odds Bitcoin ever goes below 20K again?
Ever again?
Ooh.
Yeah, so he was talking about 23. That's very, I agree, that looks like a very, very strong support area. I will let you guys, I'll go last. So I will start with Frank. He's the TA master. What do you think the odds are? Like, just put a number on it. Odds that we go back below any type of wick below 20K ever again. What do you think?
Yeah, listen, I think if the bottom is in, up very, very low. Very,
Okay.
very low. I don't think. Now the thing is, I am being very cautious right now of some black swan events. We were kind of talking about this before we hopped on. There's a lot of crazy news going on. I don't want to, say anything YouTube doesn't like right now. I don't want to demonetize us, but there are some crazy things going on in the world right now. So, even if these things wind up just being FUD, chances are, if we get some crazy news, even if it winds up not really being anything, chances are the markets will react to that. So if we get some kind of a black swan, I don't think it's impossible to get back down there, especially with something like a black swan. But listen, those FTX FTX levels, the highs that we created right before the FTX collapse, that is going to be a very, very significant level. So I don't even know if we're going to get back below there. But if we do, that's kind of where we, I actually don't know exactly what the level is number-wise. But yeah, I would say pretty low at this point. As long as we don't get any black swans, I think it's pretty low, because if we don't get any black swans, I think there's a really, really good chance the bottom is in. And Joel going crazy from Hit Gaming. But yeah, I think, if I think there's a good chance the bottom is in as of right now. And if we don't get a black swan, I think, especially if we don't get a black swan, almost zero that we go back down to 20K. Because if we launch up from here, then
yeah, it's in. We got Sack Nasty saying never 0%. We have, I think it was Corey said 50%. Drew, what are your feelings on that?
Yeah, I mean, like a black swan is something you don't see coming.
Sure.
I think a lot of people see even the potential for a large kaboom coming. There's a lot of media talks about what's going on the other side of the pond there, and I do feel like the probability for some city being affected in that massive way is pretty high right now, to be honest with you. It's right around 40 or 50% as far as that kind of event happening, but a black swan is something you don't see coming. And I still feel like even if an event like that happened, it is going to really bring the markets down. I'm putting it right around 40% that we can get that 19K entry point. But I look at it as just that, an entry point. Like if I see that wick come down, I'm treating it just like I did when flu season happened. I'm moving everything I can into that'll give me a really good chance to buy the altcoins that I've been looking at really closely. And I'm honestly like, it's either going to be that or something else that's going to happen. But more than likely, it's going to come from the conflict. And when it does happen, I have a good amount of dry powder on the side to move super aggressively into that manner, because I've got enough blue chips at this point. And I want to kind of up the level of my gains that I make in the next bull run, because houses are cheap around my area, and I see a lot of acreage that's going for pretty cheap right now.
Ooh.
Can I say something really quick about Drew? No. I will say this. I always talk about on my channel, you don't want to trade with your emotions. You don't want to make any trading decisions based off emotions or your gut feeling. The market doesn't care about your gut. But I'll say something. Drew sometimes comes up to me and says, dude, I don't think we're going back down here, or I think we're going to dump. I think we're going to pump. I just have a gut feeling. And I feel like his hit rate is like 10 out of 10 times.
Some people have a good gut.
Very rare.
It's not really
gut health is a very important thing in the world. Ali will tell you for sure. But
True. I'm going to go with 50-50 chance.
50-50?
Yeah,
okay.
I like that.
You want to add any context?
I just think there's a 50-50 chance we'll see a big event like that. I mean, I personally feel like they're kind of, we're not supposed to see them coming, but they are planned out in some way, in my opinion. So there's a pretty good chance something big will happen, and pretty good chance that Bitcoin will go down again. Yeah,
it's funny you front ran me there. You stole my answer, because I was gonna say, did you want to jump in, BJ, before I go?
Well, I was gonna say, and probably the chemistry bro would agree with this. There's 100% possibility,
right?
But I'd probably say a 15% probability.
Yes,
big difference there. But yeah, I mean, a while ago, 20K was the top. I see us wicking there.
Yes.
Yeah. Wicking at best, I would probably say under 12 hours, maybe floating around 21. But again, even if it drops below that, what is the relevance long term? Like, I don't personally really care if it drops down there. Maybe put a few loads around there to pick up some bags. But long term, I don't give a shit.
There you go. I mean, you hit the nail on the head, as I like to say. Real Crypto Steve said BJ is very wise. Cribistry Bro did say 100% chance that there is a certain percentage chance we will go below 20K again. And also, they were asking if the poll was right. The poll was right. TJ's lunch today is chicken salad. I'm going to put it somewhere where you can kind of see better. Oh, there you go. Pow, pow, pow. You guys nailed it. By the way, I do eat that twice a week, so your odds are pretty good to guess that. So your probabilities, I guess I should say. So yeah, I was going to agree. I think there's absolutely certainly a chance that it happens. And I've been in this long enough to know, like, as soon as you start saying there's never a chance, your Bitcoin's going to humble you pretty quick. There's a chance it can do almost anything at this point. In 2019, I didn't think and we had gone we were between 7 and 10 forever. I thought for sure, I mean, we had tested that 7K support, and you could even say 6 and change support so many times. and bounced and bounced and bounced. Like you watch it on the chart, it's like, and it's like, all right, we found the bottom, we found the support, and then it wicked right back down there again, March 12th, 2020 on the pandemic news. And again, I would have never thought that was going to happen. I tend to agree with Frank. I don't think we're going to get a new bottom. I feel very confident that the under 16K was the bottom. However, 20K being that really strong support, being that area there, an area that probably will retest at some point. Like 21 is not very far from 20, when in Bitcoin's volatility. Like Bitcoin can very easily wick down, touch 19,99999, and then head all the way back up to 28K within days. Now, what day will that be? Who knows? And to BJ's point, if you're buying at 23 or 21 or 20, you're not going to care generally over the course of 4, 5, 10 years, And so again, we talk about the time preference a lot. We talk about investing for the long term, especially when you're talking about major alts. So don't get too hung up on nailing the bottom or nailing the top. Don't get too, there you go, BJ. Don't get too caught up on.
No, what Razmataz said.
Oh, plot. Is Drew? It's Drew. Razmataz a dun dun dun.
Can you pull up my screen, BJ? Because this is a real black swan.
Are you connected?
It's Drew's chicken in the chicken salad.
Check this out. This is a real black swan.
No, here's Drew's chicken right here.
Listen to this. Irish rooster with a violent past kills man with attack to the back of his leg. This is a real black swan. This guy did not see this coming.
You don't see that one coming.
You know what I mean?
Don't mess with the rooster.
So I just wanted to bring that up, since we're on the
don't mess with the rooster, you get the beak, I guess I would say.
Birds.
So. No, this is not Drew's chicken in the chicken salad, but I'm sure there is a day, Drew is a true pioneer man. There is a day that comes,
Also, this stream brought to you by Alice in Chains.
Nakudo said, when TJ starts eating lobster salads, I know it's the bull run.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. When and that's how you know when to take profits. That will bring me to the next thing. We were talking about profit taking strategy yesterday, and I mentioned Q1 2025 is when I'm going to start taking profit, and it made it sound like that was going to be the top. And there was a correction. I did want to kind of pull this up. These are great. By the way, all you have to do to get some of these graphs, for those of you at home that want to look, now this one has a lot going on it, but all I did was Google Bitcoin halving chart. There's a lot of different stuff that comes up from TradingView, and you just click through and you can find, this one shows the halvings and then the timeline. Like I said, there's a lot of other stuff going on here, but these blue lines are the Bitcoin halvings, and then these green lines are the tops. So you can see halving here, top there, so here we are in, July, or let's see, right? Yeah, July 2016, we had the Bitcoin halving, and then we had the top December 2017. Then here we are in May 2020, we had the halving, and then arguably, basically you could argue this was the top, and we kind of have a double top here, but and then November 2021, approximately the same timeline. So following that theory, we're going to have the next halving out here in, say March or April, late March, early April, depending on how the blocks play out of 2024. And then really 2025 is when you generally will see this major run up the year after. So the top could come in, more end of Q3, really, or beginning of Q4 of 2025 is, according to the halving, maybe October-ish. Again, it depends on how all the blocks play out, but approximately October is when the absolute peak of the next market should be. So depending on how much we were talking about dollar cost averaging in, dollar cost averaging out. If you start Q1, in theory, if you're looking at the 2016-17 market, if you start in Q1 of 17, that's still right here. So you've missed the majority of that upside move. And it's a little bit different in this last cycle because we did have the double top and we got that dump here in May of 21, which is uncharacteristic. And that's part of what put us off the trajectory of where a lot of people thought it could get up to this 200-ish range. If you follow this trend line of what cycles would have been without all that downward pressure from all those collapses, you're coming in right at 202, approximately, if you see on that right-hand side where my curse, where that, and this is what kind of changed the whole trajectory. Oh, tough word, trajectory. And messed up plan B, stock to flow model, and all that sort of stuff. So the question is, will we get back on target? But I did want to point that out because, generally speaking, according to the Bitcoin timeline, end of Q3, early Q4 2025 should be the next Bitcoin top. And shout out Corey Harden says he loves my new shirt.
I just figured out what you were laughing about. I was like, what's so funny, Allie? And
I
was laughing at Corey Harden. That is a new.
Well, it's actually not. So side story unfortunately, believe it or not, those of you who like to wear the same stuff over and over can probably relate to this. Anytime you find something that you absolutely love and you want to just like, okay, just order 4 more of the, I just wanted like 5 more of these black shirts, exactly this brand, like slim stretch fit. I like the stretch. I like it's super soft. And then of course, you go to, it comes from Express. They don't have this black t-shirt anymore. Of course, they don't sell it. You can't get it at the outlet. You can't get it on the website. So now I'm back to looking for another black t-shirt that I like. We ordered some other ones, and I'm like, part of why I like this one is because the dog hair shakes off really, really easy. And so all I have to do is go like this, and not this piece of dust, but most of the rest of it comes off really easy.
The Chappelle Show.
Yeah.
Gotham rocks.
Yeah, exactly.
It looks exactly the same to me. But.
Yeah, everybody else, you can't tell. It's a black t-shirt. It's a black t-shirt.
I bought this Georgia Boys t-shirt in Colorado, not knowing that I was moving to Georgia.
Hey,
and so now I need to
speaking of Drew's gut being good.
Yeah, there you go.
He can tell what's coming before it happens.
I can feel it. I knew the South was coming. So
yeah, he could feel it in his blood.
That's right.
The South is calling.
Yep.
I'm not a Denver man. Get me out of this. Yeah, never mind. Denver's pretty cool. I like Denver, but
dude,
they've got some strange.
It ain't the Denver it used to be. I'll tell you.
There you go.
Patagonia and Priuses took over the entire.
Patagonia. Don't get me started.
Terrans everywhere.
All right, so real quick, we're gonna jump into this. This is kind of what the title was talking about. SEC shadow crypto rule taking shape as enforcement mounts. And part of this
ain't nobody mountain Gary.
That's a fact. Maybe Caroline. I don't know, but.
Oh my god!
Hey.
Yeah, I know. We'll stop there because it could go much darker very quickly with that polycule and their stuff. So, yeah, like I was saying, we don't have anybody really fighting in our corner when it comes to the government's take on politics. Like I said, we're gonna get into what Tom Emmer's doing. I think that's great, pushing back against some of these entities. I was reading another article talking about how Gary Gensler's like, I don't understand why the crypto industry is so upset. It's so easy. They're just none of them are talking to me, and like it's very clear the SEC stance on all this. And it's like, no, you just say everything's a security, and you won't say why. How is that clear? Like that doesn't make any sense. So. U.S. securities regulator has now issued dozens of actions outlining how it defines a crypto security and which firms should be exchanges by the industry is in a holding pattern. And Ben mentioned this today, too, that centralized exchanges aren't not necessarily our friends. They're working against us. We've got a story here. Coinbase, now with FTX out of the way, Coinbase primed to slide right into that slot.
Do you mind scrolling down a tiny bit so we can see Gary? So, Frank, how would you read those spider lines in his forehead?
Yeah, what's the trend line here going on?
I see a serious bearish divergence.
Yeah, right. Money flow definitely coming out. Blood diamond on the 12-hour. Yeah, here's the blood diamond right here and a blood diamond right here. Yeah, it's not
double
not
blood diamonds.
Yeah, here, look, if you follow the money flow, the VWAP right here is looking ugly.
I'm back to derail the show.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it.
We appreciate it. You were definitely missed.
Yeah,
we did get questions asking where is the biscuit Jesus? He was making magic happen. Oh, pull that up. I'm gonna read this. Pull up your Twitter because I thought that was a cool and awesome.
Here,
it was a short video, I guess, right? Or Drew can pull it up.
Yeah, I'll pull it up on mine so you can switch it here.
Yeah. So real quick, U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission Chair Gary Gensler thinks cryptocurrency industry is playing a game with his agency. He said that companies are well aware of what they have to do to operate legally within the U.S., but they've decided not to do it. Some of them in open scorn of the regulator. Yeah, because he needs to be scorned because he's not doing his job. The industry rebuffed. The SEC is rebuffing the sector's pleas for the regulator to issue the actual rules. So crypto efforts have no choice but to carry on as the government walls in the closing. But the U.S. securities regulator has been building a fairly detailed set of implied standards, which is the key there, with every enforcement action. He's basically trying to regulate through enforcement. He's trying to create cases against different crypto protocols or companies. You weren't yelling at her. You were just hit the wrong button. Yeah. Basically building a case against them, taking them to court, trying to use the court case to establish precedent, so regulation through enforcement. Crypto lawyers are well aware in most cases of what the SEC thinks and defines as a security, leaning on legal standards such as the so-called Howey test to lay out it over and over in law enforcement documents. So basically they're trying to apply old laws to a new industry and use that to create precedent that they can continue to use over and over. Gensler suggests he's frustrated over the crypto platform's unwillingness to come through his door. Obviously the only one, really the most notable one, would be FTX, which again, he was trying to use to control and to...
also wasn't crypto.
Yeah, they were running the traditional banking model. They were trying to play by all the old rules, and then guess what happened? They lost billions of dollars. They were doing all kinds of shady stuff.
They didn't lose it. They know exactly where they sent it.
They misappropriated it at best. They put it in crazy places, a lot of it in their own pockets, just like what we see going on with Celsius right now. Right there under Gary Gensler's nose, they sat in his office and did all of those things. And he either was completely incompetent or completely complicit in everything that was going on there. And, and then that's kind of what has been frustrating. We covered Jesse Powell's comments on it a couple days ago. Kraken CEO publicly said they were never going to register with the SEC. Boldly said that Gensler said these platforms aren't even coming in asking for meetings, which that's just a bold-faced lie. They have come in. They have both Jesse Powell and Caitlin Long were presenting issues that the SEC needed to be addressing and regulating and taking action on, and the SEC ignored those issues. They want these things to blow up so they can come in and regulate after the fact. They don't want to give a clear path forward on how to take action because they want to create, just like they did with the bit license, they want to create a framework that is prohibitive to the everyday person. They want to make sure the people that are paying them, generally the banks, generally whether it's Goldman Sachs or JP Morgan, their hands are all over all of this stuff. JP Morgan is extremely involved in what's going on in crypto politics right now, just as Goldman Sachs, just as Fidelity, just as Morgan Stanley. They are trying to lobby and use the money that they have to keep themselves in a position of power as we move to a whole new way of banking, a whole new way of commerce, global commerce around the world. And they will do anything they can to maintain control because they know control is what keeps them in power, keeps them making money, keeps them being able to change the rules after the fact and do, again, these retail clawbacks. Most of the people have no understanding of the way these bankruptcies work. You look at it, they go on for years and years and years and years. All this money goes to the litigation attorneys. Yeah, it's great for the attorney to do this, but it's not great for the people they're supposed to be protecting. Most people don't even understand the way all that works. You can look at the Bernie Madoff stuff. I think they literally just finished wrapping up a lot of the litigations and the clawbacks from the Bernie Madoff case. It's insane the way all this stuff operates. So enforcement surge. While Gensler continues to warn about the compliance runway growing even ever shorter, recent weeks have seen the surge in SEC cases that would further tip the scales. Basically, they've started shooting cases at almost everybody. People that they did Kraken, they're going after Do Kwon, they're going after almost anybody they can now to start to create opportunities to set precedent. A lot of people were thinking they were trying to win the Ripple case in order to use that as the precedent to go after all these other people. Now it's looking more and more dicey that it's going to work out when it comes to the Ripple case. So they went after, and a lot of this, again, if you read between the lines of a lot of what's going on here, it comes back to stablecoin regulation. They're trying to maintain the power of the almighty dollar. They don't want to see anything threaten the dollar as a world reserve currency, and it's too late. Bitcoin is already doing that. Decentralized, non-government, separation of money and state is what's happening here, and they don't want that because having money controlled by the state is what keeps the state in power most of the time. You posted something the other day, Drew, about people talk about the largest standing army in the world being, the U.S. citizens. We have more guns than
we have by far more
than
guns
any army that exists on the planet combined. People don't understand that, and so the power really is in the hands of the people, and we don't have to just sit here and take it. I did mention how the SEC went after the Mormon Church not too long ago, and actually it was with Autism Capital. I saw a tweet about this last night. Let me see. Oh, show BJ making the magic happen real quick.
Oh yeah, Here, let's check it out.
Hold on.
I'll make this full screen.
Well, he's
and the candle is dropping right now too. But check this out. This is BJ's.
Look at that. This is what he does in his free time.
And that's only the front row. So I'm on the second row, and then there's a row behind me. There's another row to the side.
There's
Magic is so much bigger of a thing than I ever thought it was.
Yeah, and we're talking about Magic the Gathering, guys, not Magic card tricks. But he will do those for you too. So
he's also a magician.
Magic runs in his blood. He is maybe he. Yeah,
and that's not hepatitis chemistry, bro. It's actual magic.
Yeah,
dude. How far is this thing gonna dump, dude?
I saw this is unrelated. This is just completely unrelated. I will take shots at this guy as well. Autism Cat. Joel Osteen, if you guys don't know who he is, he's one of the biggest grifters on TV, has been for quite some time.
He wouldn't let anyone into the church during the flood.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah, pays himself $54 million a year. I saw another thing, has all, basically obviously uses the church as a tax shelter.
Allegedly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they don't pay taxes.
No,
It's,
he just knows that you have to be inflated to get to heaven, so he's just trying to pay the money.
Yeah.
That must be
he's
the
helping
way.
everybody.
Yeah.
long term.
Okay.
He's one of those people. If you guys do know the Bible, when Jesus is turning over the tables at the when he's flipping out on the money changers in front of the temple, this is one of those guys. He'd be literally slapping this guy with a whip because he's doing the opposite of what it's supposed to represent. He's doing it for self-interest, self-profit. This is nothing to do with crypto, so I won't go too far other than the fact that Autism Capital tweeted it. But
he thinks he's both types of profit.
Yeah, then this came basically after the Mormon news, basically talking about the SEC going after the church, the bank that the Mormon church has. And again, we mentioned it here on this show. We also talked about the Vatican's other church. Yeah, I know. Yeah, we was considering our conversation earlier. We got to be careful what we show on the screen here, but we know you guys are listening on all cameras and all
Mike
mics.
Tyson?
Yeah, Mike Tyson. Yeah, there you go. Anyway, way off track there, but a lot of crazy stuff happens when you centralize power. No matter if you're doing it in government, if you're doing it in religion, if you're doing it in a lot of different areas, you just have to be aware of the incentives and the motives behind a lot of different things. That's why we like decentralization. That's why the best thing about the printing press, it started to decentralize information. Same with the internet. Information went widespread much faster than they can control. And now money and commerce is getting flattened and it's going widespread way faster than these banks can maintain it and control it. And that's why this is going to change the world. That's why this is a revolution. That's why it's going to make the world a better place for all of our people if we stay true to a good sound money model. Which is why I like Bitcoin so much. So supply matters, set supply matters. And again, if you haven't read the Bitcoin Standard, go read the Bitcoin Standard. I was pitching this to somebody just the other night. If you like history, if you like to learn about different societies and the way civilization has functioned, not for hundreds of years. A lot of us, we think, within our lifetime, we think the last 100 years, especially here in the United States, we're very guilty of that because we're in a very young country when it comes to the scope of the world. Mm-hmm. We don't really think about too much before the United States ever existed.
Right.
But there's a lot of civilizations that have existed for a long time. We're talking thousands and thousands and thousands of years, not hundreds of years. So go back and look at organized civilizations, and when they thrived the best was always on a sound money supply where it wasn't being perverted. And then as soon as they started to pervert the money supply, everything else in society started to crumble. That's one of the things I really took away from the Bitcoin Standard. 3/4 of that book is just history on different civilizations and different money supplies and monetary policy that existed throughout different, whether you're talking about Romans or Greeks or islands over here or islands over there, if it's rocks, you can use all sorts of things to keep AKA a ledger or a count of who owes what. And as long as there's a good medium of exchange, a sound money, a set supply and open policy, nations thrived. As soon as they started to gate access, as soon as they started to increase the supply for those closest to the creation of it, it all falls apart.
And then centralization, just like in general, is a big issue, like even down to a biological scale. It's like when you have centralization, aka inbreeding, look at what happens. And a lot of these biological systems, you can look at them as like a microcosm for economic growth, that the more you decentralize that more genetic diversity, aka or monetary diversity that you have, the better the system works, the better that new systems are able to come in and evolve. And then it's like we are consistently watching this, that the more we're willing to stupidly centralize everything, whether it's power, whether it's money, whether it's everything else. For ease. And it's just like you do realize that creates issues. Like a weird example are bananas. You want to talk about centralization? They're all clones of one another. So when your one problem comes in, you're screwed. So imagine when that one virus hits USD or whatever else, like we're fucked. Yeah, so simple.
Have you guys ever read The Wealth of Nations? The Wealth of Nations plays into what you're saying, TJ, and the history of money. I started by reading The Wealth of Nations and then the Bitcoin Standard and understanding this new system. And The Wealth of Nations, I would absolutely recommend for the history of money, the history of nations as they rise and fall, and how they evaluate society as a whole and their input and output and the worth of that there within. So
there you go. Big hands dances. I tell my kids this stuff all the time. Our society does not want to hear it. Sack Nasty, my Twitter is just @HitNetwork. I think there's an underscore at the end on Twitter, @HitNetwork_.
Casino Doggy said, are charities taxes exempt in the U.S.?
Yes.
Depends who you ask.
Well, a lot of them are.
And churches are tax exempt.
They are tax exempt.
And
yeah.
TJ told me there's a Church of Bitcoin.
There are people that have used that to try to get tax exemption. There are also if you're in California, there's certain collectives that prescribe to the Church of certain plants to be tax exempt, and there's a Church of the Wood. There's people. It's basically just a tax exemption for some people. It's obviously just like a lot of things in policy. It's created to have a positive effect, and then ends up getting abused. So that's something to keep in mind. A lot of these policies that get created, they start well intentioned, but they very quickly start to become something that people use to empower, embolden, and enrich themselves. And that really is the real issue here. It's the same thing we're seeing happening with the SEC. They're doing it under the guise of protecting. Hold on.
Oh,
salute.
Season's back.
Yeah, no,
Look,
it's not.
the Fed minutes just came out.
Oh yeah.
Okay, or what are we doing? Are we going up or down? Okay, so we'll talk about this and we'll come back to the SEC. Speaking of centralized things that can, try to dictate our lives, like the Fed. Fed minutes, I don't put as much stock in as the actual meetings.
Right,
I mean, it's just kind of like there might be. So some of you guys mentioned it yesterday. Like if they come out, the minutes look like they're going to be doing 0.5 raises instead of 0.25, which I don't think they will.
You think 2.5? I think 2.5 is.
I think 2.5 is about it, and they might do 2 of them. But
the charts are saying extreme indecision.
Extreme indecision. There you go.
Just a straight doji candle. Crazy.
Yeah. So nothing's really going on, right? As far as you can see,
It's like ripped up and ripped back down. Now it's just chilling.
Yeah. All kinds
Sideways.
of crossing lines.
Yeah, basically.
We're going to get into a boring section at some point, guys. This might be it. I just want to warn you guys. If it's anything like 2019, as soon as, again, every time the price started to move up towards 10K, it's like, oh, here we go. It's going to be good. It's good. All right, we're right back at 7K. All right, here we go. It's going to be good. We're right back down at 7K. And I think there's going to be a lot of that, maybe between 21 and 25. Obviously, everybody knows 25.2, 25.5. If we can clear some of those and close above some of those key levels at 25, there is low volume areas to shoot right up into the 28 towards 30. But again, I don't think it's going to be as much fun as we're all hoping it's going to be. And I mean, trust me, I hope it will be. I want there to be action. I want there to be stuff for us to talk about. Luckily there's a lot on the policy side of things when it comes to narratives there. But when it comes to price action, this could be a fairly boring year in my opinion, which is why I have these conversations every single day with people that are talking about, oh, I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to do that. And, I'm want to put a little bit of money into crypto, but I can't put as much in as I'd like to right now. And I'm worried, by June or July or August, it's going to be too late. And it's not. It's not going to be too late. You're going to have time throughout this entire year to accumulate. It's not too late until we get past the halving, and it's really never, and again, it's still not too late. You still have the rest of your life. This is not something that is going away tomorrow. This is not something that it's going to run away and then you're not going to have a chance to invest in it. One of the key things about this, and one of my favorite things about being in Bitcoin and crypto, and this is, it can apply to other things, but I've found it the most true when it comes to Bitcoin, is it puts you in a situation where time is on your side. Right now, if you're in fiat or any other currency, time is working against you. They're inflating it, and you have to work. You have to make more and more and more, faster and faster, just to keep up. Absolutely. It's the opposite with Bitcoin and crypto. The supply is set, the emission rate is set, and it's coming out slower and slower over time. So you just accumulate little by little, and eventually, the more. That's why I always say, once you get 4 or 5 years in, everything's going to feel way better. And so there's a few other things in life where you can get time on your side. And once you can do that, it's an amazingly freeing thing when you're like, wait a minute, now time's working for me instead of against me. I'm not running out of time. The more time that goes on, the better position I'm in. So I would encourage you, don't freak out, don't worry, because and Ben and I were joking about this the other day. That's how we felt in 2018, in 2019. We felt like, we missed it. We had our shot. Now it's gone. Yep. And we had all of 2019 to just buy little, buy little, buy little. And like I said, I had a group of people that every time Ethereum would dip below $200, which again was not the previous all-time high, but it was really where, when I first heard about Ethereum, that was the price it was at. It was under $200, and then it went all the way up to $1,400, and then pulled all the way back down, and it stayed under $200 for quite some time. And so for a while, I was like, hey, it's under 200, probably a good time to buy. Then you had probably a couple months that you could have bought it at about 150. Then it did wick all the way down to 89 on March 12th, and under $100 a couple points in time. And I never thought that was happening when I was buying Ethereum at $1,400. I was it's going to 5,000 one day. I got to get what I can now. And I still believe that. I still believe Ethereum's going to 5,000. It almost did this last cycle. It got cut a little bit short, But this next cycle, you better believe Ethereum's going over $5,000. And if you don't believe that, I'll see you in the YouTube comments because I know you guys are coming for me when they click this first show.
I got comments.
My mom is in crypto too, you know, and she's always calling me and be like, hey, honey, did I miss the bottom? You know, like recently when we made it over 20K out of the 17 trough, I was telling her about the 17 trough when we were there. And I'm always very careful about my wording that I give to my mother because she's a very feisty woman. She broke a Hell's Angels knees one time, so she's a very strong woman.
Well, she's got to be feisty to wrangle you and your brother, right?
Yeah, and you know, so when I'm telling her about, you know, the time frames and stuff, I'm just like, you know, yeah, we're at, you know, 20, you know, probably going to kick up to 30 and then crab walk, but I do think that we have the full year of 2023 to profitably move into these you know, blue chips, and then when we get a good big pullback, which I do believe is coming, that's when I'm loading into my alts. You know what I mean? And I'm, again, very careful about what I tell my mother, so I feel very strongly about those words because, you know, she's there to answer when I'm wrong.
That's pretty badass to break a Hell's Angels knees.
Really?
I want to see that clip. Like, would she do it like a club or something?
No, so she found him. It was a burglary, and he was hiding in the laundry, and the police had, you know, sifted through the house and they thought it was clear, and so she went in there to do the crime scene, and then he popped out of the laundry and grabbed her and picked her up, and, you know, because he was much bigger than her. She's like 5'4", and she kicked down on both his kneecaps in the air and popped him out, and
Jeez.
Oh my God.
So there you go. That gives you a little context on Drew there for you. You know, don't mess with the Druth, or he'll sick his mom on you. She doesn't mess around.
Yeah,
she doesn't.
Was this before or after you were born?
After, yeah. I mean,
Whoa.
yeah, she was like
During. She broke water right after.
Broken knees, broken water. Let's go. Also, some people in the chat were saying basically the recap on the Fed minutes, more or less, almost all black, slow raises, nothing, you know, pretty much 0.25, which is you know, pretty much what as to be expected. Which again, no real surprises there. That's again, I don't put too much weight on the minutes as much as the meetings. We have some time before the next meeting. It's somewhere, I believe, mid-March. If I have to check that, but
on what?
It's
on the next
now.
FOMC meeting, or is it all the way in May? I can't remember.
I think it is March.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
I do
check-
believe it's March.
So we've got a few weeks and some time and some space there before any of that goes on. UK will raise rates 0.5, can guarantee, kick it off on the next. And look, this is why I think they're going to start backing off on some of this stuff, is because of what we covered yesterday. If you guys didn't watch the news of what we covered of the People's Bank of China and the central bank in Japan, they've both gone back into easing, some of the biggest they've ever done. So that's clearly affecting the global money supply. That's something to keep an eye on when it comes to these assets. It will come to the EU central bank and the Fed, United States central bank, at some point. It's just a matter of, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. They can't not do this. They know what it will do to the economy. Some people are worried about the treasury bills and the yields those are getting. That usually is a precursor to what we're going to see when it comes to the monetary policy, whether it's tightening or easing. So we just saw that play out in the East. We'll probably see that play out in the West here, just on a little bit slower timeline. So it's just something to keep in mind there. So and we will talk about CBDCs here and what's going on, because basically, like I was saying, when it comes to all this policy, all these regulation, almost all of it has to do with trying to control stable coins, and that's also very clearly tied to the monetary policy. It's clearly tied to the trade war. I mean, everybody was talking about WW3 trending for the last few days now. Like, clearly it is trending. I don't think it's necessarily as much.
That's also bottom signals.
Yeah, exactly. It's not as much a reality as it is a fear-monger tactic to get everybody to hunker down and hold on to their stuff, get out of risk-on assets, and generally speaking, you know, that leads to money printing. You know, not immediately. You're going to get a dip. Like, I think we looked at this with Arcane Bear on around the blockchain at some point. Which, by the way, if you guys aren't watching Around the Blockchain, it's a great channel. You guys should all go subscribe to. You get basically 3 to 4 different perspectives.
Yes.
BJ switches the board for that from all kinds of different people that spend all day in crypto, all day in macroeconomics. You're talking about different things that relate to blockchain. DZ, a lot of you guys know, hosts that show. Very great show for you guys to subscribe to. And also subscribe to this channel too. I think we have. Hey, look at that. Almost 420 people watching right now. 416. So, hey, everybody smashes the like so we can get 420 people in here again, so we can get those 420 likes. That's definitely the goal, at least for now. And then we maybe up it later. Maybe we'll go, let's see. We'll go for 420 likes on every episode, and then maybe we can get to 4,200 people watching one day.
Yeah, when we do that, we all get an ice cream party, right, TJ? right?
When we do
Ice
what?
cream.
Pizza party.
You got to define the
Pizza party.
terms.
Snow cones.
Snow
Define
cone
the
and
fuck
ice
that.
cream
Pizza
party for what? What do you want for an ice cream party?
If we get
I'm gonna eat that
300
cake.
likes, we get ice cream party.
No, we're gonna get 300.
Dude, there's some
likes.
cake
Oh,
and
wow.
ice cream left
Low
over.
Wow.
We had more than 500 something yesterday. So
Well, where's my ice cream?
We had an ice
we
cream
had a
party last week.
Yeah, we had a Super Bowl party on.
Are you
know,
gonna
on
eat
Sunday.
your
550,
leftover
You didn't even
550
come to
likes.
my last. You didn't even come to 550 likes. We get an ice cream
Oh,
party
BJ.
an on-stream ice cream party, which by the way is not too hard to pitch. Man, I freaking love ice cream.
Crypto
Do you
mukbang
still have
stream.
your ice cream from your birthday party
Yeah,
in the
BJ
freezer?
missed it.
I realized that last night. I realized like, wait a minute, I never ate
I've been
that.
eyeballing it all week, waiting for you to eat it.
Yeah, I'll go
Let's
eat it
get
right
after
after
this.
this. You know,
I
because-
got some cake stuffed all the way in the back of the.
Okay,
Ah.
this is
All right, yeah, we're-
getting way too many innuendos right now. Back on crypto. Jesus.
Just BJ just wants ice cream. Yeah, Corey or
BJ
Cove
putting us
344
back on
wants
track.
pineapple on pizza for everyone. So
That's
Fuck yeah.
cool.
yeah,
I like that.
yeah. BJ keeping us on track. What is going on?
That's very inverse.
So last week, the commission proposed a rule that would insist the SEC registered investment advisors, including massive hedge funds and advisors representing major institutional money, ensure their clients' assets be only placed with quote unquote qualified custodians. And that's what I meant when I'm saying gatekeeping. They're wanting people with license. They're wanting people that are qualified custodians, which means pay us and keep other people out. And
Wait,
if you,
the same qualified custodians that got us to what's the national debt?
The 31
$31
trillion.
trillion.
Bullish.
Yeah.
Qualified
Yeah,
custodians.
qualified. Yeah, qualified to run the country into the ground and make the most for themselves
Hey,
along
good
the way.
news.
But they're
we're
qualified.
We're covering Ukrainian pensions soon, so we could also handle the pensions.
Oh, great. Yeah. If you guys,
Hell
if you guys, by the way, if you guys haven't figured, I mean, most of you guys watching this show are pretty smart. I would imagine you figured this out by now. Wait, don't you got to go around the blockchain? Get in the blockchain. Oh,
that was
that's
a
good.
That's
one.
fun.
That
You
was a
have to
good
go
one.
around the blockchain to get into the blockchain basement. We don't just let anybody in here. Yeah, exactly. This is the live around the blockchain, really, where we get, once you go all the way around, you end up in the basement, and for better or worse, that's where you're at. You get the true degens down here. And that's what I was about to say. You guys are very, very smart. You're on a lot of this stuff, and you're the one. Now I totally lost my train of thought. What were we talking about before that?
Pineapple on pizza.
And
No, after
Ukrainian
that.
pensions
Oh,
are coming
pension funds.
to
Yes.
our bill.
So if you guys think you're getting, like most of you guys know, if depending on what your age is, like you're not getting Social Security. You're paying into you're paying into a Ponzi that is already insolvent, and they won't tell you. It's like putting money in Celsius right now, thinking, oh, I'm going to earn some rewards and get it back. Like it's not coming. If you think you're getting, and that's what scares me about a lot of these big pension plans. They've been they've been investing them in these very risky things that don't really, it's fake money. It's paper money. It's all there on paper. But if everybody started to draw down on it, it won't ever work. And which is why they keep, they got to keep this Ponzi alive. They got to keep printing. They got to keep making more money in order to pay out the old people. And it really is just a Ponzi at the largest scale.
Can we get shirts that say fractional reserve banking is not my kink?
Yeah, that'd be good. Or, fractional reserve banking is not my Ponzi.
Dude, Biden's going to empty out Polish healthcare costs from that fall he took. I'm telling you, he came off the airplane. Did you guys see the airplane move?
No, what happened?
He fell from the top of the stairs.
Oh, I did hear about that.
What?
Manowalk in the basement said he just went over to the attic or the tubes and hit the stream. So went to the stream and hit the like to help us out. So he wants everybody here to get ice cream. So if you guys are in the basement, and you don't mind hopping over. Don't just come over and leave though. That kills the average watch time. So we want people to stay. So if you're really a dedicated basement member, you can have it up on 2 screens because I know you guys like the Twitch thing better because I see your chats faster. Because Twitch does have a better streaming experience, they just don't have a better distribution experience. So,
real quick, I don't know if Tony D is watching this, but hey, Tony
he
D,
is.
if you are in here, maybe drop that link in the Discord. Try to get a few more likes.
Hey,
Shout out Tony
yeah.
D.
Saying.
Hey,
See if we can run it up a little bit.
Candle Mafia is powerful, man. Yeah, don't mess with the Mafia, man. They'll show up in all kinds of chats, dropping candles everywhere. And
Tell them to whack
we
the
know
like
like
button.
half of you guys are kind of Hit Network official all across all different channels. We do get a lot of. I should not have taken that big of a bite and then started to talk. Sorry, guys. My mother would be disapproving right now.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Hold on, let me swallow.
Your mom likes me. I don't think she disapproves of much.
Don't react that way when I say that, Drew. Golly, you're gonna get me in all kinds of trouble. All right. So speaking of CBDC, speaking of people fighting for us, we have U.S. Congressman introduces, this is Tom Emmer introduces bill to block CBDC rollout. This is the definition of centralized and used for control. Jakeology said, I just started coming to the basement. It's lit. Welcome in, buddy. So United States Congressman Tom Emmer has introduced a new bill seeking to block Federal Reserve, the Fed, from issuing central bank digital currencies. Now, unfortunately here, they're already a step ahead of you. The Fed isn't going to try to do this themselves. They've already said they're going to use private entities. I think it's Circle and USDC. They're already issuing it through Circle.
Yeah.
There's a reason BlackRock and all these people are already involved in Circle. It's started by ex-Goldman Sachs people. So this is good in theory. I appreciate what he's doing, but I don't see the Fed actually being the issuer of the United States CBDC. They kind of cut this one off at the pass. So, there you go. There's all the candles from the Candle Mafia.
God,
holy.
jeez.
Welcome in. This is the Bitcoin Way is one of my favorite YouTube names out there. There's a lot of good ones, but Satoshi Glakamoto isn't a bad one.
That's so good.
But yeah, this is the Bitcoin Way. It just makes me for some reason it inspires me every time I read this is the way. So today I introduced the CBDC Anti-Surveillance State Act to halt efforts of unelected bureaucrats in Washington, D.C. from stripping Americans of their right to financial privacy, which he outlines it right there. That's exactly what's going on right now. When they're trying to issue these CBDCs, it's not to be able to get money in the hands of the public faster, because that's usually what they claim. What it's for is to be able to have full. There is something called the Bank Secrecy Act already. And don't you love how they use these names that sound, they're literally the opposite of what they mean. So the Bank Secrecy Act means there are no secrets from, from the government when it comes to bank. The Bank Secrecy Act means if the government asks, you have to give us any and all information of any of your customers at any point in time. It's basically like the Patriot Act for currency, for finances, for financial transactions. And if you guys wonder how you get all these ads for all these different things, no, they're not listening to your microphone and processing all that data. They just have a profile built on you, and they know exactly everywhere you spend all of your money and who you text and who you communicate with. And that's why you see, if you're on social media, the people you see at the top of your feed is generally people that you've either texted recently, Venmo'd, interacted with, the brands you see or the places you've shopped the most recently. Yep. So they're tracking your location, they're tracking your financial transactions, and they're tracking who else you communicate with. If you can track those three things, you can pretty much know almost everything there is to know about somebody. So
your retina and how it reacts to those images.
Exactly. Your vitals and what is not just your
biometric data.
Yeah, biometric data.
It's gathering it, and it's actively
if you watch Tony D with the super chat says Frank promised me ice cream if I share it in the Discord. You're definitely we'll get you ice cream right after this, Tony D. I'll pull Drew's hidden ice cream cake out of the back of the fridge, and no, I won't do that to you, Drew.
It's gonna be good.
What up, Tony?
If you guys watch Minority Report, I think it came out, and look up when it came out, 2002, 2005.
Oh, is that the Tom Cruise? They already know people are gonna kill.
1998.
Is it really that old? Pre-2000? No, you could be right.
Let's see here. 2002.
2002.
Oh, I was right.
Yeah. Well,
Colin Farrell.
Wrong.
God, what happened to Colin Farrell?
So in that movie, you see, it's very futuristic. The whole premise is they're stopping crimes before they happen, which is a very heady thing, because they've got so much AI and, machine learning data, and they've got these empaths basically that can...
The precogs.
Yeah, precogs. They created a system that allows, through NCOGs and computers and all this technology that allows them to see crimes before they happen, and they're just going to go stop them. And if you stop them before they happen, it becomes very heady of if you stop it before it happens, then no crime has actually been committed. So they're going to jail for something that hasn't happened, but they know with 100% certainty it will happen. And then obviously, again, just like anything else centralized, the person closest to the center starts gaming that system for their own gain. And, and it all starts kind of unraveling. But there's a scene very early on in that movie when he's walking, I don't know if he's going to a mall, if he's going to an office park or something like that, and you start to see all these digital advertisements all around. They change what's being advertised based on scanning his biometric data. They scan his eyes, and then, okay, this is Tom Cruise's character. He likes motorcycles, he likes guns, he likes whatever. I mean, I'm sure they're not showing advertisements for those. But
did they ask Heisenberg's opinion on this?
The only Heisenberg I know is from Breaking Bad.
And he's the creator of the uncertainty principle.
Ah.
I was making a joke because they're with 100% certainty.
Gotcha.
But there is no 100%.
There is. Well, I mean, until it happens, right? How can you...
In which universe?
Oh, there you go. Now that's a whole other thing. You know, welcome to Rick and Morty in the basement, right?
Shout out to Gary Gensler in the chat. Shout out to Around the Blockchain in the chat.
Oh, Gary Gensler in the chat coming in hot. He's still mad at me that I took his wrench away on the BitBoy channel. Sounds like TJ's talking about security. Take note.
I hope you liked the song I wrote for him.
Gary Gensler kills me in the chat.
Yeah.
He comes in. What the hell's going on down here?
So here's the actual tweet here from Tom Emmer. He basically outlines what the bill does. And again, this is a good thing. This does need to happen. I know, and I think it's the Bank of England is pushing CBDCs very, very hard. We've already seen some of their plans to do some of this stuff. We know some of the issues. They've already got expiration dates on certain amount of funds where you can't hold it for. They're going to force you to spend your money.
Savings limits.
Yeah, savings limits. Because again, all of this is based on Keynesian economics, debt-based, spending-based, not saving, not a free market really. And they want to do everything they can to just push it up. They want the consumerism mindset. They want people spending money on liabilities, not assets. They'll take all the assets. They'll own it all. You'll rent it all from them and be happy is what they're trying to sell you. So Tom trying to push back against that. This bill will do three things. It prohibits the Fed from issuing CBDCs directly to anyone.
I want to just make a quick comment on this.
Yeah, go ahead.
So before, if this bill doesn't go into play, a CBDC as it stands will be a liability of the Federal Reserve. And this bill blocking that is kind of what got my pants a little larger than normal. So continue.
A growth, not in your shirt.
A slight growth on the chart there.
Oh, I didn't know you were a camper pitching tents.
Anyways.
No, I'll leave. Never mind. I'll leave that.
Moving on.
So this bars the Fed from using CBDC to implement monetary policy and control the economy, which is basically what they're doing right now, tightening and easing, changing monetary policy. And again, I predict the way they're going to kind of fast roll out the distribution of this new CBDC is to require, hey, you want to get this next airdrop? We're not going to just like everybody was kind of shocked. They just put $1,400 in my bank account. What the, I didn't realize I had that kind of access. They're not gonna do that again. They're gonna say, hey, you want this new $2,000, this new $3,000? If we're gonna move to universal basic income, or if you hear people talk about UBI, that's what that stands for. Mm-hmm. If they're gonna move towards that, they're gonna do it through a policy like this, where they say, oh, you sign up, use this app, and it might even be through Coinbase, which we're gonna cover that story in a minute. Go make your Coinbase thing, download this, we'll put USDC right in your wallet, and then you can put it right in your bank account, and this will give us complete, again, insight into everything you're doing. It'll be interesting to see if they try to do it through their own app or somebody else's. If they're smart, they won't create their own, because they're terrible with technology. If you ever try to use anything government technology created, like for the consumer, for the public, I don't know if you remember, I can't remember what website it was. Somebody, it was the healthcare, when they were trying to get everybody to sign up for healthcare, and their site just was down for days, and you were expecting millions and millions of people to use this thing, and this was not designed well at all. So, all right. Let's see. Requires the Fed's CBDC projects to be transparent to Congress and the American people. Another great thing that, again, we got to get it off that number. I could see it. They don't like transparency at all. Any digital version of the dollar must uphold our American values of privacy, individual sovereignty, and free market competitiveness. Love that. Anything less opens the door to the development of a dangerous surveillance tool. After all, America remains a technological leader, not because we force innovations to adopt our values under regulatory duress, but because we allow technology that upholds these values at their core to flourish. Yep. Absolutely love that. Oh, for those of you asking, here you go. Here's the... where'd
he go?
Can't do it.
Where'd he go?
I'm trying to show this right here. There's the right there. What were you going to say, BJ?
I said I hope he doesn't become the villain, because
I know, dude.
That's what scares me. I was like, God, he's
he's
logical.
giving me hope. Don't you give me hope?
I know. It's a little scary.
Yeah. You gotta believe in someone, though. My God, we gotta back someone that's trying to do something well on the front end. It's like,
I agree.
We're running out of options here.
I really
people that we can back.
Yeah, I see Hester Pierce and I see Tom Emmer. They're standing up and fighting for it.
Yeah.
I really like Eric Voorhees and Jesse Powell fighting on the side of crypto, but they've been so lashed and beaten by regulatory forces so far that they're getting tired of trying to fight. And that's what kills me when you see Gary Gensler over here saying, oh, they're not coming into my office, they're not doing me any favor, they're not trying to work with me. And it's because every time they do try to work with him, he penalizes them for it, and then they raise up the people that aren't, like FTX, SBF.
Who's that new up and coming politician? She's really like brilliant and like sees things logically. It's like Warren.
I want to say Marjorie Taylor Greene.
No, that was a troll on Senator Warren. She's definitely not the one we want.
She's not new and takes a lot of money from the bank.
Yeah, we affectionately call her the banking broad here.
Yeah.
Razmataz says Emmer equals Palpatine. I like that one.
No, you don't like that.
Well,
Palpatine?
You're right. Palpatine is
Darth Sidious?
Yeah, you're right. Well, that's where I was going to go as well. That also the Republic didn't work out. This was an interesting again, sidebar discussion I was having with my brother last night. If you look throughout history, and this is where we got talking about the Bitcoin standard with him. If you look throughout history, democratic republics don't have the best track record over time for long lasting prosperity. They have had some moments of thriving, but generally speaking, republics, just like we saw in Star Wars, they vote themselves right into the hands of the ones that are claiming to be liberators, and they're actually controllers, and then it becomes a insidious, dark competition within different political parties and divisions, and people trying to get votes and advance power. And
I would disagree with you. Is your I guess standing here is that they vote themselves into that issue, but the underlining issue here is you keep your people stupid and not educated, then they don't think them for themselves, and then they vote for those people. So it's not necessarily that the democracy is the issue; it's the lack of education.
Is the issue. I agree. I'm not
in
saying
the water.
Amen.
Yeah. There's really, exactly. There has been no perfect system, and that's basically what we came to. Is every system falls at some point. But what was interesting, I was thinking of, when I say vote themselves into it, I'm generally referring to.
Unfortunately, you're correct.
The governors or the senator, like there's that quote from. I was thinking Amidala, not Palpatine, when she said like, "Oh, and this is how democracy dies to a thunderous applause." Where they all cheering for Palpatine to take. I forget what they called it, super majority control in that, or I'm going to save up and fight against. I'm going to stop this war that I manufactured and created, and you're going to vote me emergency powers, and I'm never going to give it back. And then
on a side
Hegelian
note, at least
dialect.
Disney just got rid of Kathleen Kennedy, so they at least made a good vote there. The one who destroyed Star Wars.
Yeah,
episode 7, 8, 9.
You could say Disney. Yeah, Disney buying Star Wars was the beginning of the end right there. So Disney. Whole other evil company. So, and speaking of companies with questionable allegiances, Coinbase brushes aside. So just so you guys know, Coinbase earnings just came out. They had a lot of losses, but less than expectation. I don't know if I have that story up. I thought I pulled it, but Coinbase earnings, I can't remember what they were. I want to say they came in. They were supposed to lose like.
It doesn't say right there. Coinbase incurred a net income loss
of 2,625 million, which but I can't remember what the what they were expected to lose was.
On a side note, Crimson Caravan, I will ban you if you say that again.
What did he say?
Episode 7 wasn't that bad.
No, that is not true. I watched it and I was like, you know what? There's no reason for me to watch any more of these. They just broke so many long-standing things that like. I'm just don't even get me started on like I don't Anyway, it was just what is this? Why are they doing this? And none of this would work like this if you've ever watched or know anything about Star Wars or the Force or anything. Like
we're definitely in the basement.
Yeah, sorry, we're getting a little distracted. So okay, Coinbase is aligning with with the United States. It seems like you can see why Brian Armstrong seems to have conflicting interests. Now that FTX is out of the picture, the exchange is reportedly in talks with the IEX to launch a federally approved digital assets marketplace. Again, when you come back to qualified custodians here that they're talking about gatekeeping. They're talking about shutting down the which is exactly what Gary Gensler and SBF were trying to do. They were trying to create a regulatory environment where it was a winner take all and there wasn't a free market, and FTX would slide in and be the chosen one to be the exchange, the chosen exchange within the United States, and basically crush all of the other competition. Now that they're out of the way, Coinbase is looking to swoop in on that. But will the SEC allow Coinbase to go ahead with its plans?
What's funny is you almost had a Freudian slip. You said they were working with, and you almost said the WEF.
Yeah, right.
Which, like, what if they are?
Exactly. I mean, if you keep going, follow the money trail, follow, like everything is moving towards one world currency, which precedes one world government, a government larger than, the United States government. You think people here think the president of the United States has power, like that's all a farce. That's all a puppet show. He's there to do what he's supposed to do what he's told, rely on the information that he gets from people that don't get voted in and don't get voted out, that they stay there for generation after generation or year after year. Again, look at the true power seats don't have rotating people through them. I'll just say that much because that's not what power does.
I only believe in one government, the matriarchy.
I thought you were about to say
Mother Earth.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say the Matrix. I only believe in one government, the Matrix.
I dug into my latest thoughts on our favorite supervillain on Rumble, so have at it.
Oh yeah, there you go. Go follow Drew Wider on Twitter.
We'll get.
All right, this thing's not loading
Who's
correctly.
the supervillain? Can you say?
Yeah, Schwabi.
Yeah, Klaus, Mr. Schwab. He looks like a supervillain. He acts like a supervillain.
I'll watch that.
He's so obvious.
Frankie, is that hat for sale?
Actually, I saw somebody. I forget who it was. Somebody said that's an awesome hat. We actually just got samples of this exact hat. The patches are not on. We're waiting for the patches to come in, but they will be on the merch store in the next couple of days. Hopefully, coming soon.
Yeah, so this is not loading correctly. I'll hit this and then we'll wrap up. But the crypto winter has taken a toll on Coinbase financials. According to its latest fourth quarter full year results, the exchange repeatedly lost 2.625 million. I don't know if that's 2.625 or 200. I think it's 200. I don't know what that's supposed to be when they put a comma there.
Comma or a period?
It's a comma, I think. But my eyes aren't. Yeah, it's a comma. So they lost a lot of money, but not as much as they were expecting to. However, Coinbase might be trying to turn 2023 in its favor, becoming the first federally approved marketplace in the United States, which if they do that, you know what that immediately does? It means Kraken isn't approved. Binance US isn't approved. Gemini isn't approved necessarily. So they will, Gemini, I have a feeling, will slide in there because the Winklevi have a lot of financial pull and political pull and power, especially in New York, where, the financial headquarters there, the BitLicense stuff continues to go on. So this is, guess who will end up having control of all of these things? The big banks, basically the people that control the regulation landscape, the people that control the financial flow of money right now. That's what they're trying to do, is get it back in their control. And you need to use this as an opportunity for you to hold and custody your own crypto assets. If you can, right now, the on and off ramps are open, and they're trying to restrict them specifically when it comes to stable coins. If you have a time to accumulate, this is a global movement. This isn't just in the United States. So any negative news and negative regulatory stuff you're hearing right now, don't hear that as bad for Bitcoin. Hear that as good opportunity for you. When I say you've got time, this is the year that you have time. It's because of all this stuff that's floating out there scaring a lot of people. You have time through 2023 to accumulate up until the halving of 2024 and even beyond. Like the rest of your life will be an opportunity to accumulate Bitcoin, crypto assets, digital assets, things that you can hold to change your financial freedom as your life moves forward, things you can do to put time on your side, to give yourself freedom of time back, freedom of choice back, freedom of movement, sovereignty, all these sorts of things that is the true core of what human rights are. So don't hear this and think scary. Hear this and think good for me, sad for the world, but good for me to create an opportunity for me and my family and the people I care about to change the world around us. Because you can't change the whole world overnight. What you can do is impact the world around you, impact the world of the people you interact with, the way you interact with people, the choices you make, the things you do to set yourself up for a better financial, mental, physical, spiritual future. As generational, you're trying to make a better world for your kids, right? That's what we're trying to do. So well, we were about to wrap up.
It's wild.
What?
BitBoy.
I hate Celsius!
And on that note, that's all we have time for the basement today. We love all of you guys. Carson Adventures, Mike Bennett, AK Crypto, the Anorexic Whale, T, AK, Razmataz, Casino Doggy, Ninja, Glock, Crazy Oaks, LJ, GG, Manly Crypto, Manawak, Crimson Caravan Company, Big Hands Dan, Nakodu, Corey Harden, Dude What Does Mine Say, Kev Twitching, 918 Rep,
Mama Crypto.
There you go. Enzo Mining, Chemistry Bro.
It's going fast.
Urkelson. Yeah, I know. We're trying to catch them all. We love all of you guys.
It's
growing.
It's Bungalow Bill. Smash the likes on the way out. If you aren't subscribed, please do so. Leave us a comment on some of the hot button issues you'd like to see us cover in the future. Until next time, if you play video games, if you like having fun, go hang out with Joel. It's a much lighter note than all this dark stuff we talk about here in the basement. So,
okay, bye.
Peace.